Ethan's luxurious life unravels when a fleeting glimpse of his past sets him on a desperate quest for redemption. Haunted by secrets and driven by urgency, he battles to rebuild the family he abandoned. This video reveals the powerful steps Ethan takes to mend broken ties and the unexpected truths that could change everything. Join us to explore if healing is possible against all odds. Welcome, enjoy, subscribe, and activate notifications. As Ethan disembarked from the train, the bustling city of New York enveloped him with its familiar chaos. Each step echoed with memories of the life he had built in Miami, a life filled with opulence yet devoid of true meaning. In the station's throng, his gaze caught sight of a woman he never expected to see again. Emma, standing with a young woman who bore her striking resemblance. Ethan's heart skipped. He was frozen, realizing this was his daughter, whom he had left behind 2 decades ago. Regret and guilt surged as he watched them disappear into the crowd. Ethan's mind raced back to the choices that led him here. He had left Emma, chasing dreams of wealth, only to find himself empty. Now, faced with the reality of his decisions, he knew he had to reconnect with the family he had abandoned. The station buzzed around him, but his focus was singular. He needed to find them, to mend the bonds he had severed. The realization struck him hard. The life he had pursued had cost him the ones who truly mattered. Determined, Ethan navigated through the crowd, his resolve growing with each step. Memories of his past with Emma flooded his mind, the dreams they shared, the plans they had made. But ambition had clouded his judgment, driving them apart. Now, seeing the young woman, he understood the depth of his actions' impact. The city's noise faded as he pressed forward, the urgency to find them propelling him through the throng. Approaching a station attendant, Ethan described Emma and the young woman, hoping for a lead. "I'm sorry, sir. It's a busy day," the attendant replied, sympathetic but unable to help. Undeterred, Ethan continued his search, scanning every face in the crowd. Each unfamiliar visage reminded him of how little he knew of Emma's life now. He had to find her, to understand the life she had built without him. Ethan settled into a cafe, his thoughts drifting to the day he chose Miami over Emma. She had pleaded for him to stay, but the allure of success was too strong. The farewell was bitter, promises broken, hearts shattered. Ethan had been blind to the secret Emma carried, a secret that would have altered everything. As he sipped his coffee, the weight of his choices pressed heavily upon him. The years had been kind to Ethan financially, but emotionally, they had left him hollow. Parties and business deals filled his days, yet loneliness was his constant companion. Meanwhile, Emma had faced the challenges of raising their daughter alone, a struggle Ethan had never imagined. Now, sitting in that cafe, he felt the full force of his regret and the urgent need to make amends. Ethan's determination solidified as he decided to retrace the steps of his past with Emma. He visited the park where they spent countless afternoons, the apartment they once called home. Each location was a painful reminder of what he had lost. As he walked these paths, Ethan reflected on the silent battle Emma had fought, raising their daughter amidst difficulties he had never faced. He realized it would take more than mere words to rebuild what he had destroyed. With a heavy heart, Ethan prepared to face the consequences of his past, determined to regain the trust and love he had squandered. He knew it would be a long journey, but he was ready to begin, driven by the hope of a second chance with his family. Ethan knew he needed help to find Emma and their daughter Lily. He hired a private investigator, someone skilled in reuniting lost families. The search was frantic, and Ethan was ready to do whatever it took to find them. The investigator started by scouring public records, seeking any trace of Emma and Lily's current lives. Meanwhile, Ethan revisited the significant places of their shared past, seeking solace and clues. Each visit to the park, the benches where they dreamed of the future, and the old apartment brought back memories and a sense of loss. Clues emerged, revealing fragments of the life he had missed, the scars his departure had left. The investigator managed to locate old friends of Emma, people who still remembered her and might know where she was now. Eagerly, Ethan accompanied the investigator on each visit, desperate for any information. During one of these visits, they met an old friend who provided a crucial lead. "Emma moved to a nearby neighborhood a few years ago," the friend said. "She was trying to start anew, and Lily is a promising young woman, though she's been facing some health challenges." The mention of Lily's health problems tightened Ethan's heart. He knew he had to find them quickly, to be there for them as he had never been before. With newfound determination, the investigator followed the leads. Each day brought Ethan closer to reuniting with his family, but also more aware of the challenge it would be to regain their trust. As he faced his own inner demons of guilt and regret, Ethan prepared for the day he would finally meet Emma and Lily, ready to confront the consequences of his past actions. Ethan stood before the modest townhouse indicated by the investigator, his heart pounding with anticipation and fear. He took a deep breath, steeling himself before knocking on the door. Each step felt weighted with the years of absence and regret. As the door creaked open, revealing Emma, both stood in silence, the air heavy with unspoken emotions. Emma's eyes reflected surprise and caution, but also an undeniable pain that mirrored Ethan's own. "Ethan," Emma finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "I needed to see you," Ethan replied, his voice thick with emotion. But before he could continue, a young woman appeared behind Emma. It was Lily, her resemblance to Ethan striking. She looked at him with curiosity and a hint of confusion. "Who is he, Mom?" Lily asked, her voice tinged with distrust. Ethan's heart ached as he faced the reality of the situation. "Emma, is this my daughter?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Emma hesitated, her eyes welling with tears. "Yes, Ethan. This is Lily. She is your daughter." The impact of the revelation hit Ethan hard, a mix of awe and sorrow washing over him. "My daughter," he murmured, the words foreign yet profound. Lily's expression shifted from confusion to resentment. "The man who abandoned us?" she challenged, her voice sharp. Ethan felt the words like a blow, each syllable a reminder of his failures. "Lily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know," he pleaded, desperation in his voice. But Lily crossed her arms, her gaze unwavering. "You can't just show up and expect everything to be okay," she declared, her voice firm. Ethan nodded, accepting the harsh truth, knowing he had a long road ahead to earn her trust. Ethan sat in the cozy living room, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The room was filled with signs of a life lived with resilience and love. Emma settled into an armchair opposite him, her expression a mix of exhaustion and determination. "Lily is going through a lot, Ethan," Emma began, choosing her words carefully. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, concern evident in his voice. Emma hesitated, then spoke openly. "She has problems at school, feels abandoned, and it's affecting her behavior. She misses you, even if she doesn't want to admit it." Ethan felt a stab of guilt, realizing the depth of his absence's impact. "I didn't know, Emma. If I had known, I would have come back sooner," he confessed, his voice laced with regret. Emma shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. "It's not just that. Lily is also sick. She has an autoimmune disease and needs ongoing treatment. I'm doing my best, but it's not easy." Ethan's heart tightened at the news. "How can I help?" he asked, desperation in his voice. Emma sighed, her exhaustion palpable. "Lily won't accept your help easily. She's angry, and to be honest, so am I." Ethan nodded, understanding the depth of their feelings. "I know I need to earn her trust, but please, let me help with her treatment. It's the least I can do." At that moment, Lily appeared in the doorway, her eyes filled with tears and anger. "We don't need you," she stated, her voice firm. "We've managed on our own until now." Ethan stood up, taking a step toward her, but she stepped back. "Lily, I know you have every right to be angry with me. I just want to help," he implored, his voice earnest. Ethan faced the mounting responsibilities of reconnecting with his family while dealing with pressures from his business in Miami. Old rivals threatened his newfound stability, and constant calls from his company only intensified his feeling of being pulled in different directions. One morning, as he tried to focus on documents in Emma's small home office, his phone rang again. It was his assistant, urging him to return for a crucial meeting. "Ethan, we need you here. The investors are getting impatient," his assistant insisted. Ethan sighed, the tension rising. "I understand, but I can't leave my family now. I'll handle what I can from here," he replied, trying to remain calm. The business pressures began interfering with his efforts to connect with Lily and Emma. Though physically present, his mind often wandered back to the company's issues. Lily, perceptive and wary, noticed his distraction and withdrew further. To her, it seemed like he still prioritized his work over them. One evening, while Emma prepared dinner, Ethan tried to reach out to Lily again. "Lily, I know things are tough, but I'm here for you. I want to be a present father," he said sincerely. Without meeting his gaze, Lily replied coldly, "You say that, but you're always on the phone. It seems like nothing's changed." Ethan felt the sting of her words, knowing she was right. He struggled to balance the two parts of his life, feeling miles away from his company and emotionally distant from his daughter. The crisis peaked when an emergency at the company demanded his immediate attention, leaving him torn between his responsibilities. Recognizing his efforts to reconnect were failing, Ethan felt lost, unsure of how to bridge the growing gap between his business and his family. The situation reached a breaking point as Ethan's attempts to juggle his business and family faltered. Lily, who suffered from lupus, faced ongoing health challenges, adding to the stress. Frequent hospital visits and treatments wore heavily on everyone, especially Emma, who was visibly exhausted. One evening, after a particularly trying day, Emma's frustration boiled over. Ethan sat on the couch, head in hands, when Emma entered, her eyes red from stress. "I can't do this anymore," she began, her voice trembling. "You have no idea what I've been through all these years alone. I had to raise Lily without support, working tirelessly." Ethan lifted his head, eyes full of remorse. "Emma, I know I was wrong, but I'm here now, trying to make it right." Emma shook her head, tears flowing. "It's not just about being here now. I could never marry or have another relationship. Lily needed all my attention with her health issues." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. "I'm so sorry, Emma. I didn't realize how much you suffered." Emma's voice was bitter. "You were living your life in Miami, while I was here struggling every day. I was alone." Ethan sank deeper into the couch, guilt overwhelming him. "I know nothing can change the past, but I'll do anything to help you and Lily now." Emma wiped her tears but remained stern. "Words aren't enough, Ethan. Lily needs to see that you truly care, because all she sees is a man who abandoned her, and now wants to fix everything with money." Ethan nodded, understanding the depth of their pain, knowing the path to redemption would be long and arduous. One quiet night, chaos erupted as Lily, who had seemed to improve, suddenly experienced intense pain and difficulty breathing. Emma rushed to her room, finding Lily hunched over, sweating profusely. Desperately, she called for Ethan, who quickly responded. "Lily, breathe deeply. It's going to be okay," Emma reassured, though panic tinged her voice. Ethan lifted Lily, carrying her to the car, driving swiftly to the hospital. At the hospital, the medical team acted quickly, taking Lily to the emergency room. Ethan and Emma waited, anxiety gnawing at them. Each minute felt like an eternity, with Emma crying silently and Ethan feeling powerless. Suddenly, Pastor Mark, called by Emma's desperate message, entered the waiting room. He approached Ethan, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Ethan, in times like this, we need faith. Let's pray for Lily," Pastor Mark suggested, with calming serenity. Ethan looked at Pastor Mark, desperation and disbelief mingling. "I don't know if I can. I've never been a man of faith," Ethan admitted. Pastor Mark nodded, understanding. "I know it's hard, but faith can be a source of strength. Let's try together." They knelt in the hospital chapel, Pastor Mark leading the prayers while Ethan, for the first time in years, tried to connect with something greater. "God, I know I haven't been faithful, but I'm here, asking for my daughter's life," he murmured, his voice breaking. As they prayed, Ethan felt a wave of repressed emotions surface. He remembered a secret he had kept for years, something he had never shared. "Pastor, there's something I need to confess," he said, voice laden with pain. Pastor Mark encouraged him to continue. "Speak, Ethan. I'm here to listen." Ethan revealed his past, the fear that drove him away from another child, the guilt that haunted him. Pastor Mark listened, absorbing the revelation, then spoke gently. "We all have regrets, Ethan. What matters is what we do now. You're here, trying to make things right." Ethan felt a mix of relief and guilt, knowing his journey of redemption was just beginning. When the doctor finally entered the waiting room, Ethan and Emma stood quickly. Lily is stable, but we'll need to monitor her closely. It was a serious crisis, but she's strong, the doctor reassured, offering a glimmer of hope. Lily left the hospital, weak but with a timid smile. Ethan was by her side, helping her to the car. The ride home was quiet, with Emma feeling relieved yet aware of the long road ahead. Back home, Ethan and Emma prepared a comfortable space for Lily's recovery. Ethan devoted himself to caring for her, preparing meals, managing her medication, and spending time by her side. Each day, Lily seemed more receptive to Ethan's presence, opening up gradually. As Lily rested on the couch, Ethan sat beside her, taking her hand. "I know it's been hard, and we have a lot to work through. But I'm here for you, always," he promised. Lily looked at him, her eyes reflecting a mix of emotions. "I know, Dad. I'm starting to see it," she admitted, her words filling Ethan's heart with hope. They continued talking, sharing stories and experiences they had missed. Ethan spoke of his life in Miami, his achievements and regrets, while Lily recounted her school experiences and dreams. Emma watched from a distance, seeing the bond form, feeling a wave of emotion. For the first time in years, Emma felt like they were a family again. Tears streamed down her face as she witnessed the connection between Ethan and Lily. Despite the challenges, they were on the right path. The journey toward reconciliation and healing had only just begun, but each step, however small, was progress. That night, as they gathered in the living room, Emma joined them, forming a circle of love and support. Together, they promised to face the future united, rebuilding their lives with faith and love. In the days following Lily's return home, Ethan continued his efforts to become a part of their daily lives. He realized that despite the resistance, there was a small opening for him to integrate into their routine. Yet he sensed an unspoken strength within Emma and Lily, something that seemed to sustain them through their struggles. One Sunday morning, Emma invited Ethan to join them at a local community center event. He hesitated but agreed, curious to understand the source of their resilience. Upon arrival, they were warmly welcomed by the community members. The center was modest but vibrant, filled with a positive atmosphere. People greeted Emma and Lily with affection, displaying a strong sense of community and support. As the event unfolded, Ethan observed how Emma engaged with the activities, finding comfort and joy in the shared experiences. He also noticed Lily, still guarded but participating, seeking some form of relief. After the event, a community leader named Mr. Harris approached Emma and greeted her warmly. "Emma, it's always a pleasure to see you here, and this must be Ethan," he said, extending his hand. "Yes, Mr. Harris, this is Ethan," Emma replied. "Ethan, this is Mr. Harris, our friend and community mentor." Ethan shook Mr. Harris's hand, feeling a wave of respect for the man who clearly meant a lot to Emma and Lily. "Ethan, I've heard you've returned to Emma and Lily's lives. It's a challenging journey, but I'm here to help in any way I can," Mr. Harris offered with a gentle smile. Ethan nodded, feeling a bit relieved. "Thank you, Mr. Harris. I know I have a long way to go to regain their trust," Ethan admitted. Mr. Harris led Ethan to a quiet corner of the center where they could talk more freely. "Ethan, community support is powerful. Emma found friends here who supported her during tough times. For Lily, despite her resistance, this community has been a pillar of strength," Mr. Harris explained. Ethan listened attentively as Mr. Harris continued, explaining the role of community and belief in Emma and Lily's lives. "Faith isn't just about believing in something greater. It's about finding a supportive community," Mr. Harris elaborated. Emma found solace and strength here, leaning on friends during challenging times. For Lily, this community offered a sense of belonging, even as she struggled with her feelings. Reflecting on these words, Ethan felt the need to be honest. "Mr. Harris, I'm not sure I can believe in all this. I've always relied on what I can see and touch. Money, success. That's what I understand. I don't know if I can embrace something intangible," Ethan confessed. Mr. Harris smiled gently. "I understand, Ethan. Faith is a personal journey, and everyone approaches it differently. The important thing is that you're here, trying to understand. That's already a significant step." Ethan felt a mix of relief and internal conflict. "I want to help Emma and Lily, but I'm not sure I can do it through faith, he admitted. Mr. Harris nodded. Help can take many forms, Ethan. Your presence already means a lot. Keep trying, even if it's in your own way, he encouraged. Ethan appreciated the wisdom in Mr. Harris's words, realizing that his journey toward understanding and connection was just beginning. As they left the community center, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that rebuilding his relationship with Emma and Lily would require patience and persistence. The road ahead was uncertain, but he was determined to take each step with care and sincerity. The community's warmth and support had given him a glimpse of what could be, and he was ready to embrace the challenges that lay ahead. Lily sat in the back row of her classroom, her gaze fixed on the window, lost in thought. The math lesson continued without her attention, as her mind wandered through the complexities of her life. Ethan's sudden presence had further destabilized her already challenging circumstances. The anger and pain she felt toward him made it difficult to concentrate on anything else. Once a diligent student, Lily now struggled to keep up with her studies, her focus shattered by the turmoil at home. At school, Lily faced constant challenges. Her classmates viewed her as the troubled girl with an absent father and a mother who always seemed worried. She felt isolated, misunderstood, and burdened by the weight of their judgments. Each malicious comment or look of pity only fueled her frustration. Her fragile health added to the stress, with medical treatments and hospital visits causing her to miss classes, complicating her academic situation further. At home, the tension was palpable. Emma did her best to maintain a stable environment, but Ethan's presence created an undercurrent of unease. Lily avoided interacting with him, keeping her distance, the pain of abandonment still fresh. Ethan, on his part, made every effort to connect with Lily, initiating conversations and showing interest in her activities. Yet each attempt was met with silence or curt responses, deepening his despair. One particularly difficult night, Lily locked herself in her room, tears streaming down her face. The illness, school problems, and her father's sudden return felt overwhelming. Emma knocked gently on the door, offering comfort, but Lily didn't want to hear it. "Lily, I know it's hard, but you have to give your father a chance. He's trying," Emma said softly. "He left us, Mom. He didn't care, and now he thinks he can fix everything." "I don't want that," Lily responded, her voice choked with emotion. Meanwhile, Ethan listened from the hallway, feeling powerless to heal the wounds he had caused. Ethan felt the weight of his responsibilities growing each day as he tried to reconnect with Emma and Lily, while also managing his business obligations. Old business rivals began to threaten his newfound stability, and messages from his company in Miami demanded his attention. One morning, as he tried to focus on important documents in Emma's small home office, his phone rang again, pulling him back to his business life. "Ethan, we need you here to resolve this. The investors are getting anxious," his assistant's voice crackled through the line. Ethan sighed, feeling the tension rise. "I understand, but I can't leave my family now. I'll handle what I can from here," he replied, trying to remain composed. The pressures from work began to interfere with his ability to connect with Lily and Emma. Though physically present, his mind often drifted to his business problems. Lily, perceptive and observant, noticed his distraction and withdrew further. To her, it seemed like Ethan still prioritized his business over them. One evening, while Emma prepared dinner, Ethan tried once more to talk to Lily. "Lily, I know things are tough, but I'm here for you. I want to be a present father," he said, his voice full of sincerity. Without looking at him, Lily replied coldly, "You say that, but you're always on the phone. It seems like nothing's changed." Ethan felt the sting of her words, knowing she was right. He struggled to balance the two parts of his life, feeling miles away from his company and emotionally distant from his daughter. The crisis reached its peak when an emergency at the company required his immediate attention, leaving him torn between his responsibilities. Realizing that his efforts to reconnect were failing, Ethan felt lost, unsure of how to bridge the growing gap between his business and his family. The crisis in Ethan's life seemed insurmountable, but an unexpected visit from Pastor Mark offered a glimmer of hope. One morning, Pastor Mark found Ethan exhausted, deep circles under his eyes, and a worried expression etched on his face. "Ethan, I see you're facing many challenges. Balancing all of this isn't easy," Pastor Mark said, placing a comforting hand on Ethan's shoulder. I don't know what to do, Pastor. I'm losing control of my business and my family. It feels like I'm failing in every aspect, Ethan confessed, his voice full of frustration. Pastor Mark nodded, understanding the weight of Ethan's burdens. Remember, Ethan, you don't have to carry everything alone. There are people here willing to help. The community can be a support, and maybe it's time to delegate more responsibilities at the company, Pastor Mark advised. Ethan knew the pastor was right. He needed to find a way to balance his responsibilities and show Lily and Emma that they were his priority. But how? That was the question that consumed him as he tried to find a way out of the crisis threatening to tear everything apart. The community's warmth and support had given him a glimpse of what could be, and he was ready to embrace the challenges that lay ahead. With Pastor Mark's encouragement, Ethan began to rethink his approach. He started delegating more tasks at the company, trusting his team to handle the day-to-day operations. This decision allowed him to focus more on his family, showing Lily and Emma that he was committed to being present. Slowly, Ethan began to rebuild his life, one step at a time, drawing strength from the community and his newfound faith. As Ethan dedicated more time to his family, he noticed small changes in Lily's demeanor. She was still guarded, but there were moments when her defenses lowered, allowing glimpses of the bond they could share. Emma, too, seemed to soften, her initial skepticism giving way to cautious hope. The road to reconciliation was long, but each step forward was a victory for Ethan. One afternoon, while walking through the park, Ethan and Lily shared a moment of connection. "Dad, why did you really leave?" Lily asked, her voice tinged with curiosity and lingering hurt. Ethan paused, gathering his thoughts. "I was scared, Lily. I thought success would make everything better, but I was wrong. I lost sight of what truly mattered," he admitted, his voice heavy with regret. Lily listened, her expression thoughtful. "I wish you hadn't left," she said quietly. Ethan nodded, understanding the depth of her pain. "I wish I hadn't either. But I'm here now, and I want to make things right," he promised. Lily nodded, her gaze softening. "Okay, let's try," she replied, offering Ethan a small but hopeful smile. Emma watched from a distance, her heart swelling with emotion. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace, knowing they were moving in the right direction. As they walked back home, hand in hand, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey was far from over, but they were no longer walking it alone. Together, they were rebuilding their lives, step by step, with love and faith guiding the way. I really hope you enjoyed the story. Please leave a comment with your views. I'm sure there will be new videos on this channel that will thrill you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos. See ya.